Grand Theft Auto V and Sleeping Dogs, two open-world crime games from roughly the same era. One went on to become the second best-selling game of all time, a cultural juggernaut that keeps on printing money decades later. The other, a cult classic with a dedicated fan base that, despite its brilliance, never received the sequel it deserved. So what happened? Why did GTA V thrive while Sleeping Dogs struggled? Was the game bad? Absolutely not. Is GTA V better than Sleeping Dogs? Nope. It is something deeper, something that goes beyond just what's on the screen. So today, we're breaking it all down in depth. To understand why one game soared and the other stumbled, we have to start at square one. GTA V, developed by Rockstar North and released in 2013, GTA V was the follow-up to the legendary GTA IV. Rockstar was already a giant in the industry with deep pockets, massive marketing muscle, and a fan base that practically worshipped every pixel they released. Expectations were sky high, and Rockstar was determined not just to meet, but to shatter them. Sleeping Dogs, on the flip side, originally intended as True Crime Hong Kong, was developed by United Front Games and released in 2012 under Square Enix. This was a smaller studio with far fewer resources. The game even had a rough start, getting cancelled by Activision before Square Enix stepped in. With no franchise pedigree and a game that had to carve out its own identity in a market dominated by the likes of GTA, Sleeping Dogs was already fighting an uphill battle. And let's be honest, when you're up against a name like Grand Theft Auto, you've got a pretty steep climb. Sleeping Dogs had to work twice as hard just to be noticed. Both games told crime stories, but they went about it in strikingly different ways. Rockstar took a bold approach by giving us three protagonists, Michael, Franklin, and Trevor. Each character brought a unique perspective to the criminal underworld. Michael, the retired crook grappling with the hollowness of wealth. Franklin, a young hustler caught between ambition and disillusionment with the so-called American dream. Trevor, a walking, talking storm of chaos and questionable decisions, basically the wild card that kept everyone on their toes. Together, they formed a dynamic tapestry of crime, humor, and satire. GTA V didn't just tell you a story. It satirized everything from corporate greed to the excesses of modern life. And let's be real, Trevor's unpredictable antics were often the best part. Sleeping Dogs took a very different narrative route, centering on Wei Shen, an undercover cop who infiltrates the dangerous world of the Hong Kong triads. Drawing heavy inspiration from classic Hong Kong crime dramas like Infernal Affairs, the game's story was gritty, emotionally charged, and surprisingly heartfelt. Wei Shen's journey wasn't just about fighting crime, it was a deep exploration of identity, loyalty, and the cost of living a double life. His relationships with members of the triad felt personal and impactful, making every betrayal and sacrifice hit home. In a world where everything can be taken with a wink and a nod, thanks GTA, Sleeping Dogs dared to be earnest. While Sleeping Dogs had a compelling emotional core, GTA V's broad, satirical appeal made it accessible to an even wider audience, even if it sometimes veered into absurdity. If you line up these two games side by side, their gameplay philosophies couldn't be more different. GTA V offered a sprawling open world packed with activities. Want to rob a bank, gamble on the stock market, or simply cause a bit of chaos? It had you covered. The driving was a step up from GTA IV, realistic yet forgiving, and the shooting retained that perfect blend of arcade flair and real danger. Introducing multi-part heists, Rockstar delivered missions that were as much about strategy as they were about adrenaline. Plus, planning a heist always felt like you were in your own movie. The sheer variety meant that every player could find their own niche, whether that was racing, flying, or simply enjoying the quirky side missions. On the other hand, Sleeping Dogs. Instead of trying to mimic GTA's formula, Sleeping Dogs embraced a robust hand-to-hand combat system. Inspired by the Batman Arkham series, its brawling mechanics were some of the smoothest and most satisfying in any open-world game. The driving was more arcade-like, perfect for those high-octane chases and stunts. It was fun, fast, and just a little bit over the top. The shooting was cinematic, but more limited in scope, perhaps a deliberate choice to emphasize close-quarters combat. The game's world was smaller and more focused. Every alley, market, and neon-lit street had a purpose, making exploration feel intimate rather than overwhelming. In short, Sleeping Dogs excelled in delivering punchy, visceral combat and close-quarters action, while GTA 5 offered an expansive playground where anything and everything was possible. A game's world can be its greatest asset, and here both titles shone in different lights. Rockstar transformed Los Angeles into a sprawling, satirical playground. Los Santos was a city that never slept. Its streets teemed with life, its radio stations overflowed with quirky commercials, and every corner held a new story. The level of detail was astonishing. Whether you were speeding down the highway or exploring the back alleys, the city felt like a character in its own right. United Front Games did a stellar job capturing the vibrant essence of Hong Kong. Neon lights, bustling night markets, and intricate urban landscapes created an atmosphere that was both immersive and authentic. However, while the setting was atmospheric and beautiful, it sometimes felt more like a carefully curated exhibit rather than a living, breathing world. The density was impressive, but the replay value didn't quite match the endless possibilities found in Los Santos. Both games delivered immersive worlds. GTA 5 with its sprawling scope and chaotic freedom, and Sleeping Dogs with its richly detailed, intimate setting. Here's where the scales really tipped. GTA 5 wasn't just a single-player blockbuster. It was a launchpad for GTA Online, which redefined the game's longevity. Rockstar built an entire universe where players could create their own stories, be it running a criminal empire, pulling off intricate heists, or simply messing around with friends in a constantly evolving world. With regular updates and new content drops, GTA Online became a living, breathing game long after the initial release. It's the ultimate example of how an online component can transform a game into a cultural phenomenon. While Sleeping Dogs had some downloadable content and a handful of online features, it didn't offer a robust multiplayer experience. As the gaming world shifted toward live service models and persistent online worlds, Sleeping Dogs was left behind. Without a strong online community or continuous content updates, it was tough for the game to maintain long-term engagement, no matter how good its story or combat might have been. Sometimes success isn't just about numbers, it's about influence. GTA 5 wasn't just a game, it was a cultural moment. Its impact can be seen in everything from memes to movie parodies. The game's biting social commentary, over-the-top characters, and relentless humor resonated with millions worldwide. Its legacy is evident in how it redefined what players expect from an open-world game, influencing countless titles that followed. Sleeping Dogs may not have dominated sales charts, but it carved out its own niche. For many gamers, it's the hidden gem of the open-world genre. A game that offered a refreshing change of pace with its unique setting and heartfelt storytelling. Its influence might be quieter, but the passionate community still celebrates its innovations in combat and narrative depth. In a way, Sleeping Dogs is the indie darling of open-world crime games, proving that quality can shine even without blockbuster numbers. Let's talk aesthetics, because sometimes a game's style says as much as its gameplay. The soundtrack of GTA 5 is a veritable mixtape of modern music, spanning genres and eras. It perfectly captured the vibe of Los Santos. From rock to hip-hop, every radio station felt handpicked to complement the game's chaotic energy. Visually, the game is a masterpiece. Sprawling vistas, detailed textures, and a level of polish that made every frame a cinematic experience. And then, there's character design. Each protagonist is so distinct that even a cameo in a meme can spark a conversation. Sleeping Dogs, on the other hand, embraced a more stylized, almost painterly look to recreate the vibrant atmosphere of Hong Kong. Its soundtrack leaned heavily into Asian influences, blending modern beats with traditional sounds to create an immersive auditory experience. The character designs felt both authentic and larger than life, capturing the duality of Wei Shen's world. While it may not have had the vast radio library of GTA 5, its musical cues and visuals were perfectly in tune with its story and setting. The way a game is developed often reflects the philosophy of its creators and the industry of its time. Rockstar has always been about pushing boundaries, both technically and narratively. They're known for their secretive development cycles, sky-high production values, and a go big or go home mentality. With GTA 5, they weren't just releasing a game, they were setting a new standard. Their philosophy of letting players explore a sandbox filled with endless possibilities translated into a product that felt like an entire world. United Front Games, in contrast, were the scrappy underdogs. They had to innovate with limited resources and carve out their own identity in a market that was increasingly dominated by mega franchises. Their approach was to focus on quality, polished combat, an emotionally engaging story, and a meticulously crafted setting. Though they didn't have the deep pockets of Rockstar, they managed to create something that still resonates today. In many ways, Sleeping Dogs is a testament to creativity thriving on a tight budget, even if it sometimes meant sacrificing scale for intimacy. The industry context is also key. In the early 2010s, live service games were just beginning to take off. Rockstar was perfectly positioned to ride that wave with GTA Online, while Sleeping Dogs, unfortunately, was left out of the multiplayer revolution. A game's life is often measured by the strength of its community. GTA 5 has cultivated one of the most vibrant online communities in gaming. Memes, mods, and fan-made content have given the game an almost mythical status online. Rockstar's willingness to support and update GTA Online has only fueled this engagement, ensuring that even years after launch, players still find new ways to experience Los Santos. Sleeping Dogs, despite its smaller scale, built a loyal following. Forums and fan sites still buzz with discussions about what a sequel could be, and many gamers hold on to the hope that the unique combat system and heartfelt narrative might one day be revived. Its community may be smaller, but it's passionate, proving that sometimes quality engagement can be as powerful as mass appeal. So, where does that leave us? Sleeping Dogs didn't fail because it was a bad game. It was a victim of circumstances. It didn't have the budget, brand recognition, or online infrastructure to sustain long-term engagement in an industry rapidly evolving toward live services and expansive open worlds. On the other hand, GTA 5 was a perfect storm of resources, innovation, and timing. A game that not only redefined a genre, but set a benchmark that would influence the entire industry. It's a reminder that in the world of video games, sometimes it's not just about making a great product. It's about the entire ecosystem that surrounds it. Sleeping Dogs remains a beloved cult classic, a hidden gem that proved even the underdogs can shine. And while many fans still dream of a sequel that could recapture that magic, GTA 5's legacy is one of unstoppable innovation and cultural impact. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into why GTA 5 worked while Sleeping Dogs struggled. If you enjoyed this breakdown, be sure to hit that like button, share this video with your friends because we want Sleeping Dogs too, and subscribe for more in-depth gaming analysis. I'll catch you in the next one.